There's been so much news going on in entertainment lately, with everything kind of burning down in front of our eyes. Cool it on Disney for right now, even though this third slot of the day has normally been reserved for just pointing and laughing at the burning house of mouse. Might as well check in and see how Marvel's living. We already touched on Disney earlier today. If you want some of that stuff about Wish and how atrocious that's going to be, that won't be the end of our coverage on that, because we're still going to see this second weekend drop, and I've also got one in the can that should be coming out here very shortly. If you'd like to, of course, check in and see if rigor mortis is set in on the corpse of Mickey Mouse. And of course, sports being as woke as usual, there's actually a follow-up on that one, but there's only so many videos I can release in one day. And then also with the BBC, with Doctor Who, which I guess I also found, now we have the full trifecta of insufferable fans. I also find it hilarious as well. Like, whenever I do a Rachel Zegler Hunger Games video, I gotta find a place to just work in an update on that, because it's not as good as people would like for you to believe. I'm sure that'll be coming soon as well. You got those Hunger Games fans, okay, which are just as insufferable as your Daily Wire simps. They're not quite as bad. But then those Doctor Who fans, oh my god, okay. Well, not the fans, like the Manu who's out there. He was in the comment section. I replied to him as well. You know, shout out to you, man. It's been a second since I've seen you, but you were saying that it's as bad as everybody's leading on. It's like, I believe you from the clips that I'm seeing, from the plot synopsis that I read, and it's like, it's looking really, really, really bad. But all of those nameless, faceless anime profile pictures, that's your fan base now. Wow, it really does suck to suck that you've cultivated that flighty, non-committal, non-paying audience. And it's also funny, just with my own little corner of the internet that I've cultivated over here with so many good people and about 24 spurgs, because whenever I do a video that is just a little bit divisive, it's always that exact same number. So it's good to know I have a little bit of a hate following. Fantastic stuff. Good on you, fruitcakes. I'm glad you have nothing else better to do with your life than to look at somebody else who's more successful than you'll ever be in your entire life. Not to say that I'm this record-shattering paragon. It's just you're a loser and you have nothing better to do with your life. Anyways, speaking of losers, Aquaman 2 is about to flop into theaters, and I've been kind of thinking, is the Marvels, is Aquaman 2, hell, even is Wish going to be the biggest flop of 2023, the year of box office flops? Because you can't forget the couple of that came out early in the summer. You had the Dial of Derpstiny, and then you also had the Flourish. Oh my god, you thought that it was going to be as bad as it could get, but no. We got one more disaster before we can just call it a day and close the chapter on the 23rd year of the 21st century. So let's take a look at how this $205 million budget of Aquaman 2, at least what's been reported, I'm sure, with reshoots and shelving and all of the fancy accounting that gets done at the end of this, it's probably still going to be somewhere in the realm close to, if not eclipsing, $300 million. But who's getting paid, and how many people are going to be crying misogyny for giving the star, the guy who's actually bringing people into the theaters, triple the paycheck of Nicole Kidman? Well, Nicole Kidman's only going to have but a bit part, but how much is Amber Heard going to be making? I think that's what everybody does want to know. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is less than a month away from its theatrical release. Yeah, I guess, finally. The film, directed by James Wan, stars Jason Momoa in the leading role. Patrick Wilson will be replacing Amber Heard as the second lead. Oh, shucks. Which it cast... what is the cast salary of Aquaman 2 stars? All right, so the budget, yes, $205 million, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's also not painting a complete picture. Per several reports, Jason Momoa negotiated his salary after Aquaman's massive success. Hey, good on him. Well, yeah, and of course, probably unexpected success, because remember, that made $1 billion. That made $1 billion. Is this even going to crack 200 million? Don't know. His salary is now doubled from previous earnings of $7.5 to $15 million. And good on him. Absolutely good on him. He negotiated his worth, knowing that he was, without a shadow of a doubt, the driving force behind the surprise $1 billion hit. He was hit in quotation marks because it definitely wasn't the writing. But if he was a little bit younger and The Rock didn't vacuum up every role in Hollywood, there's a very strong possibility he could be a megastar. But Hollywood's unwillingness to embrace masculinity, even though everybody's literally begging for it. Oh well, it's going to be one of their many reasons for their downfall. It has also been noted that Jason is the highest paid member of Aquaman 2 cast. Justifiably so. He's the main character. Okay. And the difference between his and other members' salaries is it's huge. Okay, folks, it's huge. How much is Amber Heard going to be getting? Well, of course, it's bolded right there. She's going to be taking home no increase to her paycheck because she didn't negotiate because she's fucking dumb, apparently. The film made $1 billion, and the way that you tried to claim during your trial against your ex-husband was that, oh, it was a big reason. I was the second lead. Okay, that was down there. Okay, it was $1 billion success. We had great chemistry, and you couldn't negotiate a higher pay raise. God, women really do just suck at everything. But what about Nicole Kidman? Like a bona fide star in some form or sense. She's making $5 million, the second highest paid member of the Aquaman 2 cast. Good on her. Doesn't she have an Oscar? At least a couple of nominations to her name. She's well regarded as an actress. I just never got behind the whole push for her in the late 90s, early 2000s of being a sex symbol. Yeah, I'm good. I never really, open up my drawer where I keep my Tupperware and just, immediately get hard. It never really worked for me, okay? But somebody who has a lot of history working with and endorsing Amber Heard is coming out of the woodwork. Somebody who's also, like Amber Heard, no longer going to be associated with DC moving forward. Zack fucking Snyder. This dude is such a turd. Oh my god. Dude, she's not going to touch your pee-pee. Well, actually, she might if the price is right because, she's not going to be getting any work after this. Zack Snyder doesn't get why some people don't like Amber Heard. Are you... He really is that fucking dumb, okay? I would work with her in a second. All right, why didn't you cast her in Rebel Moon? Interesting. Zack Snyder is a fan of Amber Heard. Well, I guess everybody needs to have one. Fucking don't simp. Simping will never get you anywhere. The director collaborated with Heard on his Justice League film, in which he played Mira, comic book character, and she reprises again in the upcoming Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, yes, directed by James Wan, who apparently worked very closely to make sure that the original Aquaman was canonically accurate with Zack Snyder's Justice League, even though in his recut of Justice League, which was basically everything that Joss put on the screen with about 50% more fluff. Mira had different powers and way to communicate, and she actually came back for reshoots for that super fucking cringe post-nightmare scene at the end where Jared Leto was, I'm the Joker overacting. I'm an idea. That fucking creep. She actually came back for reshoots because, well, bitch needs the work because nobody wants to fucking work with her. Oh my god, the fact that she was going to that stupid bint Dawn Hughes, okay, her therapist, okay, her lion hag that she had up there on the stand as an expert witness saying that, oh my god, Jason Momoa was bullying me because he was dressing like Johnny, not knowing the fact that Jason Momoa just dresses like that in general, and he would show up drunk and everybody else is the problem except for me. Well, she acts like a child, and, well, Zack Snyder directs and writes his films like one, so I guess they're match made in apocalypse. There we go. And during a wide-ranging interview for The Hollywood Reporter, Snyder said he doesn't understand the online backlash for Heard. She's a fucking liar and a domestic abuser. I wonder why people don't like her. I wonder fucking why. Why she gets in the wake of her court battles with her ex-husband Johnny Depp. What an idiot. I just don't get it. If other people don't like her, I don't know what to say. I would work with her again in a second. Well, that's fantastic. I'm sure Rebel Moon is going to be so great. Yay, another girl boss in space with not lightsabers. That was supposed to be, for anybody who's interested in that fucking upcoming abomination. Listen, 300 was fun back in 2006. It is aged like milk. Or like Amber Heard. And Rebel Moon was his pitch to Lucasfilm. And you know the sterling quality that they also put out onto the screen. They turned him down flat. So just imagine if fucking Netflix picked this up. If Netflix picked this up and allowed him to shit this out, how fucking appalling it's going to be. But anyways, in the DC cinematic space, Snyder made such flops as Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, the Justice League, and he also consulted on a hell of a lot more. He told The Hollywood Reporter he keeps in touch with several of the cast members, including, oh wow, another domestic abuser, Ezra Miller, who underwent mental health mental health, that's one way that you could, the fucking groomer, the panel van enthusiast, Ezra fucking Miller, who probably has restraining order against every elementary school in his fucking state, the guy who's practically kidnapped of family, keeps firearms in close proximity to kids from mothers that he's brainwashed to move halfway across the world, okay, that allows the kids to chew on and suck on live rounds of ammunition. That Ezra Miller? But you know who's he's not keeping in touch with? The actual based motherfuckers up top, like Henry Cavill. Birds of a feather do tend to flock together. Snyder said Miller did a great job in the Flash movie. Oh my god. I guess, okay, his taste of talent is about as good of his taste in what makes a good film. If he thinks that Ezra Miller did a good job in Flash, everybody who watched that, okay, most people just kind of end up, settling on the opinion that that was steaming pile of shit that nobody even remembers. That was the most expensive. That should have been the biggest flop of the year, but Hold my Bud Light, Aquaman 2 says. Everybody agrees, okay? If there is one prop that you can give to that film, it's that, Michael Keaton as Batman, it's kind of a fun throwback, but you gotta get through that first slog of the film. Like he points out, it's very difficult to play against yourself. That the first hour of that fucking film, where there's two Ezra Millers and one's more insufferable than the other, he was the worst part of that. But no, Zack Miller, sorry. That's gonna be their married name after his wife fucking leaves him for being too much of a bitch. But he wants back in the cool kids club so fucking bad. Unbelievable. During her defamation trial with Depp, that's one way to put it, in Virginia last year, that she lost. Heard testified that her career took a hit in the aftermath of the breakup. Well, I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean, because Zack would work with you again in a minute. I don't know, maybe Zack's career took a hit because they looked at his body of work with Depp, that she had a fight to keep her Aquaman role in Justice League, that the former head of Warner Brothers, Walter Hamada, said no, that was never the case, that James Wan outright refuted, no, I always had this idea for her role. She was always going to be secondary to Patrick Wilson and Jason Momoa, kind of doing this buddy comedy gimmick. But yeah, had to fight to keep her role in the Justice League as her divorce played out in the headlines. No, they divorced back in 2016 or something like that. The only roles that got contentiously cut were those of Johnny Depp, the guy who you lied on. It's hard for me to work. No, it's also hard for you to act. As care of the testimony of your acting coach. I was harassed. I am harassed on a daily basis. Death threats. I don't think anybody's putting in that much fucking effort. Like, okay, that's one thing that I won't get. And it's like a death threat to a celebrity. It's like what they either act poorly on screen or they act poorly off screen. Okay, you can have your critiques for them, but death threats, like, fucking shelve those, you idiots. Also referred to being met with vitriol from Johnny Depp supporters. Yeah, justifiably so. You amputated the motherfucker's finger, for Christ's sakes. You threw a handle of vodka at him. You mercilessly beat him time and time and time again, and then you lied on his name. I fucking wonder why people don't like you. The jury ultimately sided with Depp in the case. Douche, though, Heard won one of her 3 defamation counterclaims, and then they ended up settling. Heard because she doesn't have a pot to piss in, or a window to throw it out of, or a bed to shit on, or some sheets to throw out. In her case, didn't end up having to exchange any fiduciary means with Depp, and they just decided to just fucking settle all this shit. Don't worry about it. Back in 2018, Heard told Entertainment Weekly about how Snyder convinced her to take the role. Sorry, what? Because she was so flush with work at the time, right? Before I decided to take on the role, I read a couple of comic books, and I was struck by how Mira was introduced. Wow, she actually... Okay, weird situation where I've actually got to praise Amber Heard here for a second. She did more research than Taika Waititi, the guy who directed 2 Thor films, did about the source material of his own Abominations, but more on that very, very shortly. I have so many videos that are coming up, especially over the weekend. You guys are going to be hit with a dearth of entertainment news. Hopefully you like this stuff. All the metrics seem to pan out, so that's why I continue to do it. She comes into one scene in the first comic I read where Arthur is attempting to save the town from a flood, and she helps him. Okay, cool. She is equal part in saving the village. Okay, and the civilians turn to each other and say, "Who is that? Is that Aquawoman?" And she says something to the effect of, "No, I have my own name, and it is unemployed." Oh my fucking god! This film is going to light the world on fire. And by light the world on fire, I mean burn down what's remaining of Hollywood, because 2024. Oh, it's going to be tough. Oh, it's going to be tough. But that slate gets picked right back up again in 2025 because it looks stacked, and James Gunn's brand new DCU is going to be hitting the skids, and who knows what the fuck Zack Snyder's going to be doing. I don't know, maybe doing a guest star in Amber Heard's OnlyFans page, because that's the only type of work that bitch is going to be getting anytime soon. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.